Technical infrastructure can comprise physical infrastructure, virtual infrastructure, or a combination of both, a hybrid infrastructure. But how do you decide which one will work best for your particular organization or purpose? There are a number of factors that need to be taken into account, but let's start with the basics. A physical infrastructure is used by a single business or user. The resources and components of a physical infrastructure are not shared between multiple users. A virtual infrastructure, on the other hand, is a software-based infrastructure that is hosted on a physical infrastructure. Being software-based, it can be shared and offered as a service. This is known as the infrastructure as a service delivery model. You can set up your own virtual infrastructure. However, such services are typically provisioned by cloud service providers. We'll look at the cloud in more detail later on. Another important term for you to know at this point is virtualization. Virtualization is when physical resources such as servers and networking hardware are used to host logical or virtual servers and networks. Now let's look at some of the benefits and challenges of each. A physical infrastructure does not have the software-based overlay that virtual infrastructures have, and so is simpler to operate. It's therefore easier to implement and maintain, and the required skills are easier to find. Physical servers are more powerful and efficient than virtual servers due to the fact that the virtualization software consumes processing power. Thus, a physical machine will outperform a virtual machine with the same hardware and software resources. Some specialized software applications are so processing power hungry that they perform better on dedicated physical infrastructures. There are challenges with physical infrastructures though. It requires a typically CapEx-heavy investment for the hosting center or server room, the hardware such as servers, switches and firewalls, the software licenses, and all the associated setup and maintenance of that infrastructure. System backup and recovery mechanisms are also comparatively slower and more cumbersome than in the virtual infrastructure world. If system downtime needs to be minimized, the infrastructure needed to mitigate the impact of systems failing, such as redundant servers, load balancers, and dual diverse network connections, can rapidly escalate the investment needed and the complexity of the system. The alternative is that your business must accept that systems will occasionally fail, leading to downtime. Virtual infrastructure, on the other hand, offers a number of advantages. It provides enterprise-grade technology infrastructure to organizations that can't typically afford to build their own physical infrastructure. It's more scalable and flexible, as it allows for the provisioning of as many or as few logical infrastructure components, such as servers or firewall layers, as required. It also allows for configurations that can vary based on the business's changing needs with greater ease. Virtual infrastructures allow you to manage an entire server environment from a single interface, thus simplifying the management of the environments. However, a higher level skill set is required. One of the biggest advantages of virtual infrastructure is around system backup and recovery. Copies of working machines can be saved, and in the event of an issue, the working copy can be used to rapidly replace a failing system to restore the service. Virtual infrastructures are far more portable than physical infrastructures. If you have to move data center locations, since VMs are hardware independent, they can easily be copied, digitally transferred to the new data center location, and reinstated. Physical infrastructures, on the other hand, need to be rebuilt from scratch. In short, virtual infrastructures optimize hardware resource utilization to offer greater scalability, flexibility, and a lower total cost of ownership. There are some challenges to consider around virtual infrastructures though. Due to the need for the virtualization software and associated setup effort, the setup costs of virtual infrastructures are higher than for physical infrastructures. When setting up a virtual infrastructure, careful planning is needed to avoid single points of failure. If the system running your virtualization software fails, everything fails. Because of this, you need to build in redundancy throughout. This results in higher cost and complexity. Associated with all of this is the higher level skill set needed compared to the skills needed to operate a physical environment. As you can see, both physical and virtual infrastructures offer multiple advantages as well as disadvantages. When choosing between the two, it is important to consider their distinctive characteristics to find the best options and combinations for your organization.